Good evening, race fans, and welcome to race number 5 of the Race1 SK Modified Series here with American Sim Racing Club. My name is Mason Heimbaugh with Team Goon Squad, bringing you the action here tonight, 1080p, 60 frames a second. We are here tonight at the Mini Tricky Triangle, Concord's Motorsport Park. Folks, this is going to be quite an interesting race that we have here tonight as we, this is the first time that we are going to see this track on the schedule in the past 2 seasons that we've had here with the Open Wheel Series with American Sim Racing Club. So I'm expecting to see a lot of exciting racing here tonight. And folks, I gotta say, I am really glad to be here tonight. I do sincerely, from the bottom of my heart, apologize that I was not able to bring you guys coverage of last week's race, as unfortunately I was dealing with a little bit of technical woes myself and was not able to, well, do my job. And it was kind of frustrating, but I am glad to be here tonight, ready to call the action as our drivers already putting down qualifying times here tonight as we see a few drivers making their way around the track at this time. David Payton, the number 38 machine that we have here at this moment, currently with a 15.66, tied with Charles Darling for that 3rd and 4th place spot at this moment, but David Payton going to be in that 3rd place spot. So on the inside of row number 2, will he sit so long as no one else puts themselves above that time here? And right now it looks like Charles Darling is actually going to do that here as he puts down a 15.64. And Hayden Swank here tonight going to be competing for the Horsepower Happenings Pole Award, brought to you by Zach Heiser and Rich France. The Horsepower Happenings Pole Award, whoever comes away with the pole here tonight after qualifying is said and done will come away with an extra $5 to their name here as well. So drivers competing for a little bit of cash incentive here to do the best that they possibly can. And it looks like Hayden Swank, for the first time here, I believe, in this season, is going to see himself at the top of the poll here tonight with an impressive 15.62 as his best time. And you can see Andrew Payne, another driver here who has done phenomenally well, putting themselves up on the top of the poll here, finding himself in 2nd place this time around, but only by 1/100th of a second. Very close here tonight, and frankly, that is kind of a preview, more or less, of what we're going to see going into tonight's race. This is going to be some very fast racing, and very fast-paced racing, as we have looking at practice here before we went live. I mean, drivers are just absolutely sending it here around the Mini Tricky Triangle. Some of you might be familiar with the bigger Tricky Triangle, that of Pocono Raceway, and I gotta say, different beast when you have only 3 turns to work with. And I mean, I've raced on Pocono, I've never raced here at Concord. I'm excited to see what these drivers are going to do here tonight, as we only have about a minute left here in qualifying. So no one here is on the racetrack at this point in time. Everyone has got their laps in, is ready to go here tonight, just waiting out the time here. And frankly, I gotta say, after a unexpected break, more or less, from last week and coming into tonight, I'm excited to be here and ready to call the action for these drivers. About 30 seconds left here before qualifying is wrapped up here. So while we have that little bit of time here, just a big shout out, big thank you to everyone that tunes in every single week, as well as our race series sponsors, Race1.us and Horsepower Happenings. Race1 US being the title sponsor here of the series for the SK Modified Series with American Sim Racing Club. Horsepower Happenings coming on board with the pole award throughout the season here. So great to have both of these sponsors on board here as we are getting ourselves ready to go here for our starting grid. with Hayden Swank, the number 35 machine, taking that pole award here tonight, starting off in the first place spot with Andrew Payne, the 93 machine, going to be in second place on the outside of row 1. Inside of row 1 is Charles Darling in the number 88 machine. On the outside is David Payton in the 38 car. Inside of row 3, almost said 2 again, Nick Fleury in the 25 car with Brian Wildison on the outside in the 951. Franklin Evans on the inside of row 4 in the 933 with Devin McDonald on the outside in the number 18 car. Ron Hart inside of row 5 with the 51 machine. Brett Hahn, the 71 car, going to be on the outside. David Luigi in the 87 going to be in 11th place here tonight with Tyler Jordan in the 92 taking 12th place here as we move ourselves down the grid. Noel Boucher in the 16 car in 13th here tonight. Tim Rogers in 14th. John Kane taking 15th here tonight. John Senu in 16th. Mark Welch in 17th. Eric Hahn in 18th. Andrew Burr in 19th. Justin Callahan in 20th. Zach Heiser in 21st. John DeMeester in 22nd. And while it shows Tanner Tallarico as 24th, he is not racing here tonight. Always there in the starting grid as he is overseeing the happenings of the race here tonight as race control. So Tanner Tallarico, the owner, founder of American Sim Racing Club, here tonight, making sure that everything goes smoothly. Great to have him here every single race. Big shout out to Tanner for putting on an amazing league and amazing races week in and week out as we await for our pace car to begin to make its way, or pace truck rather, to make its way around the first time here at Concord. Get these drivers ready for the action here tonight. And given kind of the trend that we've seen here in these modifieds, I don't know. It seems to be that we have quite a bit of room here going through turn 1. You know, there definitely is a lot more space, it feels like, or at least it appears to the eye, than you normally would in some tracks that we've been to. So I'm curious to see how the side-by-side racing is going to be, if there's going to be any at all here. And with these turns just being extremely short, I mean, I don't know. Things could get spicy right off the bat, or we could see some pretty good green flag racing here tonight. So I'm excited to see what's going to happen here, as I believe the lights are going to go off on the pace truck here. Indeed they are. So as Hayden Swank, the 35 machine, going to lead this field here, getting ourselves ready as we come out of turn 3, but it appears that we are going to take it around another lap, as the pace truck has not come down pit road yet. So just patiently waiting. Race control making sure that everything is all set to go before we set that green flag down. Definitely don't want to have any mishaps on the starting grid. There it goes. So down the back straightaway, between that short straightaway between turns 2 and 3. Coming out of turn 3, it's the short straight heading into 1, and the green flag drops here for the first time at Concord Motor Sport Park. Hayden Swank with a very impressive lead here, but look at this, we're 3 wide, almost there for a moment. Settles back out to 2 wide, 3 deep as we come out of 3 across the checkered line. It's lap 2 of 125. Starting to see the front of the field go single file here. A couple drivers going side by side. It looks like Devin McDonald, Franklin Evans. A little bit of contact as they come across the line, heading into turn 1. The 92 of Tyler Jordan down there way deep on the inside. He makes some incredible moves up into 8th place. The caution's out though. Mark Welch, oh boy, it looks to be back here coming out of 3. Let's take a look at the Team Goon Squad instant replay. Look at what happened here. Oh, so it appears that John Senu. Let's back things up here a little bit. We're going to hit the rewind on the old tape recorder here. So a little bit of contact from Eric Hahn, the 711 car, to the right rear of John Senu. That sends him spinning up to the top, or rather the outside wall of turn 3. Bunching up a bunch of drivers too as he tries to recorrect himself. Andrew Payne getting involved in that mix there as well. Wow, look at that. Multiple drivers just finding themselves getting mixed up in it when they, I don't want to say could have easily avoided it, but man, that's rough. Can't read the minds of other drivers around you. So it's kind of, sometimes things happen before you can even realize what's going on. And that's the unfortunate thing about racing sometimes, is that you only have those few moments to make a decision. You don't really have a whole lot of time to process what's going on. You have to think really on your feet 150% of the time. But that is why, a lot of times, personally, I've had a few disagreements with people that don't necessarily follow motorsports and follow other types of sports, for example, football, baseball, what have you, and they don't truly understand the level of physical skill, mental and physical skill, that is required to drive a race car. It's an extremely demanding sport, and even in the virtual world, when you're sitting in that sim rig for an hour, 2 hours, sometimes 3 hours or more, if you're an endurance racer, or happen to be in races like the Indy 500, it can be an extremely challenging thing to do. But enough of that. We're going to get back to green flag racing as the pace truck makes its way back down pit road, and we're going to go single file this time around. Let's see if we get a good run this time, and see if we get any drivers pushing their way up the field as we work our way through turn 2. Stacked up bumper to bumper here for the 18 machine and Franklin Evans. Devin McDonald here. Oh, man. Franklin Evans is not, oh boy, not all that patient here. It looked like the 41 was about to snap up to the top of the track there, but that must have just, oh boy, 3 wide there as we come across the checkered line. Almost, I think they actually touched wheels there. 4 wide, though, as we go through turn 2, and there's contact. Ron Hart, Tyler Jordan, the caution is out here. Let's take a look at the instant replay. Let's see what happened here for these drivers. Wow. Taking a look at Ron Hart in the 51 car. Just a little bit of contact to the 81 ahead of him, but I believe that was the no, that wasn't the 93. I believe that was Justin Callahan. Definitely couldn't have been Justin Callahan. Let's want to take things back here just a second and take a look at the other driver that was involved here, because our camera crew here at Concord did not do all that great of a job of setting up our cameras here today. So let's take a look here. It was the 92. That's who I was looking for. It was Tyler Jordan. So Tyler Jordan also getting mixed up in that mess. Boy, oh boy, this is some close racing that we have here. And I mean, even despite all the room that you seem to have out on the racetrack itself, I mean, you can see the preferred line that drivers are wanting to take here, which is going to be that bottom lane. Bottom to, well, let's kind of say the mid lane. We're seeing some drivers taking that outside line, trying to make some passes or even just put pressure on the drivers ahead of them. So I wouldn't be surprised if passes on the outside are going to be possible here. I'm going to have to keep my eye open, see if anyone is going to make that happen here tonight. But we're going to get ourselves ready for the next restart. And speaking of restarts, Andrew Payne is going to be the leader on this restart, as we have Charles Darling, Nick Fleury behind him in second and third place at this point in time. Lap 8 of 125. Lap 7 of 125, as Race Control is updating things. We actually do not count yellow flag laps here for any of the series, as far as I know, for the American Sim Racing Club. So Race Control kind of doing a little bit of manual switcheroo, making sure that the current lap is correct for all of our drivers here. And it appears Hayden Swank has come up to the front of the field ahead of Andrew Payne. So so it looks like I was wrong. It looks like Andrew Payne is not first. He is actually second on this restart. Hayden Swank still up there on this restart as we go back to green flag racing here at Concord. Andrew Payne down, trying to look down on the inside there through 2, but it's not quite enough to make it work. Through turn 3, keeping it down real low. Building up as much momentum as he possibly can here. Charles Darling right hot on the tail of the 93 machine as well, just being patient, really. Hayden Swank doing all that he can here to maintain his momentum at this point in time. About a quarter of a second, just over a quarter of a second separating first and second place here at this point in time. And while we're actually here, we'll take a moment here to ride on board with the 25 machine of Nick Fleury and just have a lap or two around here with Nick Fleury and see what it's like here on Concord. And get a taste of what it's like to be behind the wheel of a modified on a track like this, the Mini Tricky Triangle. Oh, caution's out here. Andrew Burr looks to be the driver involved here. Go ahead and take a look at the instant replay and see what happens here. There's the 2-2-3. We're coming into 2. Oh, the slightest tap. It looks like that was from Ron Hart. Definitely Ron Hart. Oh my gosh. Tyler Jordan also getting involved again. Both of these drivers involved in incidents back to back. I'm sure Tyler, he's gonna probably feel attacked at this point. He might feel a little offended. I'm only kidding. I'm only making jokes here. But either way, that's quite the coincidence to have both of these drivers involved in incidents back to one another. That's pretty hysterical. But anyhow, drivers going to get themselves racked and stacked here once again. Our third caution of the race. It's lap 12 of 125. Trying to find a good groove here. Drivers just trying to get a good green flag run in here. And I mean, everyone wants to be able to make up positions. Everyone wants to be able to, put on good fights. It's great. It's great for the viewers. It's great for the drivers. It's always fun in games. But sometimes you have to kind of look at things from the standpoint of it's only lap 13. We have 125 laps in the race total. So getting to the point where, I don't know, you have to decide when the time to make those moves is right. Especially, I don't know, as a driver, if I was in this situation, you know, seeing the number of cautions that we're having come out at this point in time, I would almost want to take it a little bit easy. Hold myself back a little bit, not want to be too aggressive, but hey, who knows? Franklin Evans, Brian Wildison side by side here as we took the green flag just a little bit ago. And it looks to be Andrew Payne, Hayden Swank. They're going to be duking it out for that first place spot. Andrew Payne, he has not given up the fight here for the lead as they touch wheels across the line. And now it's Andrew Payne in the lead as we come through turns 2 and 3. Onto the front straightaway, but Hayden Swank with the move back down to the inside. He's going to be retaking the lead here, and it's still a fight, and an epic one at that. Charles Darling trying to get himself up into the mix here as well. You also see Franklin Evans. Oh, no! It's contact in the front of the field, and it's getting stacked up here. My, oh my. That is a big, big wreck here. Coming out of turn 3, we've got someone with a blown engine. Looks to be possibly Nick Fleury. It is. No. Wow. This is quite the wreck. Not the correct replay that we're going to look at here, but we're going to take a look at the right one. And I want to take this into slow motion here, folks, and just coming out of turn 2. No, this is turn 3. Nope, I was correct the first time. That was turn 2. So we're coming out of turn 3 right here. Hayden Swank in the lead. Andrew Payne up there. There's a little bit of contact between the two. Nick Fleury right behind Charles Darling. Oh, there's the contact to Hayden Swank. Charles Darling gets up into Hayden Swank. Almost collects. Oh, there he goes. Franklin Evans gets into it. And it just gets worse from there. Brett Hahn also finding himself involved in this one. Other drivers trying to avoid the situation. John Senu, he gets himself a little bit into the wall there. Man, oh man, folks, I'm sorry I had to slow that down. I had to just process everything that was going on in that incident. But wow, let's take a look at that actually one more time in full speed, because that was just incredible. Look at this. Wow. Oh my. Whew. That is a rough incident. But Pace Truck is going to come back down at pit road as we come through turn 3 now. Fourth caution of the race, and quite a bit of drivers having found themselves down in pit road. You can see them as the drivers make their way past pit lane through turn 1. And now we can see quite a bit of distance being spread out between all of our drivers now. It looks to be a lot more comfortable of a race here at this point in time. Lap 19 of 125. Let's see if these drivers can click off some laps here and get in the groove of things. Now that unfortunately a good handful of their competitors have found themselves either out of the race or down in pit road for quite some time to get the dings worked out of their machine. Single file here in the mid-pack starting to form. It looks like John Kane actually, the 29 machine, going to be the lead of this 5-car string. They come out of turn 2, heading through turn 3. Going to be curious to see if any of these drivers are going to be able to get themselves stacked up or caught up to the drivers ahead of them. Right now, Eric Hahn, the 711 machine, currently sitting in 4th place at this time, is the closest driver ahead of them. I gotta say, this is quite the shakeup that we've had for the field. We've got Andrew Payne in the lead, Zach Heiser in 2nd, Noah Boucher in 3rd, Eric Hahn in 4th, John Kane in 5th. I mean, every single one of these drivers, with the exception of Andrew Payne, is over 10 positions from where they started here tonight. So that is just absolutely incredible. Brett Hahn out here in the 71 machine, currently in 8th place at this moment. He's going to be looking to find himself working his way up the field here with quite a bit of laps to go. And, I mean, frankly, at this point in time, he's going to have plenty of room to work with at this point. I mean, it's all going to be a matter of just maintaining his pace, staying consistent, which, knowing Brett Hahn, he's going to have no trouble doing here at all. 3-time back-to-back champion here with American Sim Racing Club. The 71 driver, Brett the Jet Hahn, he knows what he's doing behind the wheel of a SK modified, well, a modified, as well as a super late model. Brett Hahn getting himself real close to John Senu. As John Senu is also tracking down John DeMeester here. These two drivers trying to work their way up some positions here. John DeMeester, I think at this point he's just enjoying the fact that he's up here in the top 10 and ripping some laps. Not trying to get in anyone's way. Oh, whoa, why did I say that? Oh, man. You know, folks, have you ever heard of instant karma? Well, that's what I call instant commentator's curse. Man. Let's watch the replay on this one, as much as it's gonna hurt me. Oh, boy. Okay, so looking at Brett Hahn here. He's on the inside of John DeMeester, and okay, hold on a second, hold on. Wow, what an epic flip throw from the 71 car. So, taking things into slow motion here, I don't think John noticed Brett down here. Look, he's going down to the inside, and I think, okay, let's ride on board here. With John DeMeester. I think I was saying John Senu that whole time. I meant DeMeester. So, let's ride on board here from the cockpit. So, this is actually a really good view. So, this gives you an idea, maybe, of what John DeMeester can see inside of his car. The FOV on the camera is a little bit jacked up. I apologize for that. So, it looks like a fisheye lens. Again, I apologize. So it's not completely accurate. But the point being here is that you can't really see Brett Hahn's car until, let's see here. Waiting, right about there. Now, this is also assuming that John DeMeester has, let's say, a triple monitor setup or maybe even VR. I could go into the technical details of the difference between them, but I'm sure the viewers at home aren't interested in that, so I'm not going to go into that. But the point being here is that I don't think John DeMeester saw him. And Brett Hahn, that was incredible incredible flip. I can't believe that. That was just... Woo! I don't think I've ever seen the 71 machine get NASA certified before to go to the moon, but I think that was it right there. Oh, and that poor 71 machine just smoking away down there in pit lane. Oh, Brett, if you're watching, if you're listening, buddy, I'm sorry. That was... You were having a heck of a run there, moving your way up the field, and commentators curse, man. It's a thing. All right. Pace truck back down into pit lane. It's Andrew Payne in the lead on this restart. We're taking it back double file this time around. Let's see how these drivers handle this one as we go through turns 1, coming out of turn 2, heading down the short straight into 3. Getting lined up single file here for the most part in the front of the field. About you here, seeing a little bit of pressure from John Kane in the 29 machine. Only about a quarter of a second separating these two drivers, and oh boy, you can definitely see the difference with how some of these drivers are approaching these turns. Oh, there it is. Noah Boucher. I think this time around he let John Kane around, knowing that John Kane's on a mission at this point in time. He doesn't want to get himself involved in anything at this point. There's still a long race left to go here, folks, as well. We're barely even a quarter of a way through this race here at this point. Well, I would say actually just over a quarter of the way through this race at this point. But point being here, you've still got 90 laps or so, just under 90 laps before the checkered flag. There's plenty of time to work with. It's just a matter of being consistent. The key here is being as slow as possible while still being fast, if that makes any kind of sense to you. Saving your tires, saving your fuel all the way for the end of the race when everyone else has depleted theirs. It's going to be critical here in this race here tonight. But as we're on lap 40 of 120, things getting rather settled out here on the track at this point in time. We're going to go ahead and take a very quick commercial break, and when we come back, we will have more coverage of the Race1 SK Modified Series here with American Sim Racing Club. Stay tuned, don't go anywhere. We'll be back for more iRacing right here on Team Goon Squad. Good evening, race fans. Welcome back. Lap 50 of 125 here at this point in time. Everything's still green flag at this moment. Andrew Payne in the lead. Zach Heiser, John Kane second and third place at this time. And Zach Heiser currently the hard charger of the race here tonight, up 19 spots from where he started in what would be 21st here tonight in the 14 machine. And he's got quite an impressive gap built between himself and third place driver John Kane at this point in time. But speaking of gaps, Andrew Payne having built up nearly 2 seconds between himself and second at this moment. Currently tracking down lap traffic here, Hayden Swank, who unfortunately started the race at the front of the field, but not able, just got involved in an incident in, I think only one, which caused him to fall back towards the tail end of the field, down currently at this moment only a lap, but still fighting to work that lap back here. See this blown engine of Brett Hahn's 71 machine down there in pit road, and man, I can't imagine what Brett Hahn is thinking right now or how he feels at this moment. A tough race, and I mean, not every race is going to end in your favor. Not every race is going to end for you under the checkered flag. Sometimes you get involved in wrecks, you aren't able to finish the race, and unfortunately for tonight, that was the case for Brett Hahn. Man, I gotta say, what a tough way to have to find yourself out of a race here, especially after the contact that he had. I mean, just flying through the air. Riding on board here for just a moment with Andrew Burr in the 223 machine. As they also work their way around the lap traffic of Hayden Swank here. Andrew Burr getting himself right stacked up here on the tail end of John Senu. John, oh man, right down to the apron. Lap 65 of 125 here tonight at Concord. And I'd like to give another shout out, another thank you to our series sponsors, Race1.us and Horsepower Happenings. Both of them have been very supportive, very helpful in bringing this season to everyone watching at home, and as well as to these drivers, making sure that everyone has got something to compete for here in this season. And I gotta say, this has been, every time that we have these modified races with American Sim Racing Club, it's always good racing. always good action, always something to look forward to week in and week out. And folks, I gotta say, if you haven't checked out any of the previous races or the previous seasons with American Sim Racing Club, whether it's for the super late models or the modifieds, gotta tell you, it's worth the watch. Side by side though, Andrew Burr, John Senu, they basically were just grinding wheels against each other there for just a moment, and it looks like Andrew Burr's going to be the one on top of that one as they come through turn 2, now through 3. Very short lap times that we have here at the Mini Tricky Triangle, seeing times of just under 16 seconds, about 15 and a half. We'll say the average is about 15.8, looking at things at this point in time. There is not another caution, don't worry, just taking a look at the current lap times that drivers are putting down. This is currently what drivers are putting down, so about 16.2, somewhere in that neighborhood, depending on how much drivers are degrading their tires. Let's actually see if we can get a look at one of our drivers' tires here. Here's a good view, looking from the front. We're looking at the front left tire here of Devin McDonald in the 18 machine. Now, this gives you a pretty good idea of what the tires are going to look like here at this stage in the race. Now, it's kind of hard to see, folks. I know if you might be straining your eyes looking at your television or your computer or whatever, what have you. Like, Mason, what on earth are you talking about? Really what I'm keying you folks into at home is you can start to see the lines, the vertical lines starting to develop on the tire itself. Now, these are slicks normally. These tires would not have any sort of grooves or bumps or anything on these tires. They would be completely slick. So, as these drivers are turning laps, putting down rubber, turning up gravel and all sorts of other debris on the track, debris that normally you really wouldn't pay any mind to. Tires are going to catch it, they're going to spin it through them, and it's going to cause that tire to degrade over time, as well as just heat, other things like that. So got to be mindful of that, and that is where the time difference starts to come into play. So if you ever were wondering how tire wear kind of affects drivers over time, that hopefully was a little bit helpful. A little bit, only a little bit. So for green flag runs, I think this is what drivers were looking for, as Andrew Payne, the 93 machine, has worked his way up almost, well, actually over 4.5 seconds between himself and second place driver Zach Heiser. I mean, at this point in the race, Andrew's going to be quite comfortable up here at this moment in the front of the field, unless there's a caution. But there's, at this point in time, there's 40, well, about to be 40 laps left to go before the checkered flag is flown. And right now, drivers are clicking off laps about, really, 4 laps a minute, roughly. A minute and some change. So with that in mind, I mean, there's only about 10 minutes, quote unquote, 10 minutes, roughly, that you have behind the wheel. And however you want to think of it, essentially, is what I'm trying to get at here. So, I don't know. Anything can happen. It always can. But if things stay consistent at this point in time, I'm honestly just curious to see how much distance Andrew Payne can build here. But as he's working through lap traffic, I'm starting to see that time dip down a little bit, but I don't think it's going to affect him too much here going into the late stage of the race here at this point in time. So looking around the field, taking a look at everyone on the track at this moment, not a whole lot of action happening going up to the blimp camera here at Concord. It's, you know, spending a whole lot of fuel, a whole lot of resources to keep this thing up here in the air around this tiny little track. But hey, you know what? We're doing it. Taking a look, just trying to see more of what's happening down here on the track itself and seeing where all the drivers are. You can actually kind of do that here with the track map down on the right-hand side of your screen. It is a little bit cut off here, but should hopefully give you folks at home a little bit of an idea about where your favorite driver is currently at. So it looks like right now, John Senu is actually going to be well, I guess really depending on where you look at it from. Yeah, John Senu, currently in 7th place, is going to be the last driver a lap behind. Well, actually, Noah Boucher is going to be the last driver on the lead lap, currently in 5th place at this moment. Excuse me, Andrew Berg is currently the last driver on the lead lap here at this moment. So only 6 drivers currently on that lead. And it's just really curious to see how much this field has spread out and changed ever since we had that big wreck early on, which really, I think, determined the outcome of the race here tonight, and I think really played in favor, well, not necessarily, but definitely helped Andrew Payne tonight in his success, as right now, I mean, he's side by side with the driver who qualified ahead of him, the 35 of Hayden Swank, and Hayden is just, well, at this point in time, Hayden is just turning laps just to still keep himself in the race here. There it is on the top left side of our screen. 26 laps left to go here at Concord. The mini tricky triangle. I gotta say, this has been quite the race here tonight as far as incidents are concerned. And right now, Devin McDonald, Zach Kaiser, they're duking it out side by side for that 2nd place spot. And Devin McDonald working his way up into 2nd place here, but let's see if Zach Kaiser is going to have anything to respond with. Zach Kaiser, who currently, remember, the hard charger of the race here tonight, up 18 spots from his starting place in 21st here tonight. So going to come away with a podium here tonight. Zach Kaiser, also the host, co-host, one of the hosts, anyway, of Horsepower Happenings, the podcast that happens Monday nights on the Spotify platform. Make sure, tune in, check them out. Look up Horsepower Happenings on Spotify. Make sure you give them a follow. Always support our local, well, not necessarily local, but always support all of our small time, big time. Oh. racing enthusiast is what I was going to say there, but Hayden Swank, wow. No, the caution. Oh, oh boy. Oh boy, this is going to get good, folks. This is going to get really good. All right, well, Andrew Payne's coming down into the pits. This is going to be really interesting, folks. So, 21 laps left to go. Andrew Payne's going to come down into pit road. I'm assuming he's going to grab some tires, grab some fuel. Remember, folks, drivers are allocated one extra set of tires in the pits, and there you see Andrew Payne up on the right side right now. He's going to get those tires. He's maybe going to take some fuel, probably not very much. There's only 21 laps left to go here, so I can't imagine he's going to want to take too much fuel and weigh down that car an awful amount here. But more drivers also making their way down into pit lane here. Let's see where Andrew's going to find himself on the starting line. It looks like he's going to find himself back into third, if I'm understanding things correctly here. At this point in time, it does appear that he's going to restart third. Or maybe second, actually. Okay, so second place might actually be his restart behind, I believe that's going to be Devin McDonald in the 18 machine. So it'll be Devin McDonald, Andrew Payne, and Noah Boucher in the top three. It looks to be Eric Hahn is going to be awaiting to get that wave around to get his lap back. We're going to have a double file restart here this time around. Pace truck is in as it comes out of turn 2. Green flag drops here for the final 20 laps here at Concord. Race number 5 of the Race 1 US SK Modified Series here with American Sim Racing Club. Andrew Payne onto the inside through turn 3. Going to retake the lead here as they go back through turn 1. You also see Noah Boucher, the 16, right on the tail of Andrew Payne, trying to keep up with the 93 machine. Meanwhile, just behind them, John Kane getting his way up into third place here at this point in time. Watching Zach Heiser in the 14 machine, who was on the pole just a few laps ago before the caution came up, now fighting his way back into that third place spot, or trying to keep himself up with John Kane here. But the drivers up here in the top 3 all showing their pace here in these final few laps, and a lot of these drivers going to be on fresh tires. Andrew Payne going to be one of them. Not a whole lot of time going to be left here for these drivers to make up positions. Andrew Burr realizes that. The 2-2-3 down on the inside of Devin McDonald through turn 3. They're going to be almost side by side. Going through turn 1. Andrew Burr falling back behind Devin McDonald as they work through turn 2 here once more. Zach Heiser getting right up to the bumper here of John Kane. Trying to see what he can do here. Let's actually take a moment. I want to ride on board here with Zach Heiser. host of horsepower happenings, one of the sponsors here of the Race1 SK Modified Series. Here in his highest position yet this season, I do believe. Trying to fight his way onto a podium finish here tonight, and you can see it here just watching. Yeah, he is definitely eager to get himself up here in front of the 29 of John Kane, but John Kane is definitely putting up a good fight for him. Not making this easy here, and folks, I gotta say, you know, watching these drivers do their thing is definitely a lot easier than doing it yourself. Oh man, you can hear the tires squealing up there a little bit. Zach Heiser trying to keep himself clear of the 29, not wanting to cause a late stage caution, or a late race caution rather. We don't have stages here, thankfully. Oh, right as I say that. Okay, so going through turn 3, John Kane gets a little bit of a love tap from Zach Heiser, sending him sideways. Let's take a look at the instant replay. Oh, just a slight, well, not necessarily a slight tap, but a good bump to the left rear tire. That's enough to send John Kane careening around. And it looks like Zach Heiser is going to have to sacrifice some positions here, possibly. I'm not sure if race control is going to make the decision to he seems to be holding back here a little bit. As if he's letting other drivers by, and I think that's exactly what he's doing here. So yeah, there you go. You got a couple other drivers making their way around the 14 of Zach Heiser. Man, and Zach had a very, very good run there. Trying to get himself up onto a podium finish here tonight at Concord. Very close to doing so. But just that little bit of contact was all it took. Pace truck is in, the green flag is back out here. It's 9 laps left to go. It's the shootout here for the end of the race. Andrew Payne not taking any time at all here to build up a gap between himself and the rest of the field. Noah Boucher, though, he's trying to keep himself up here with the leader. Oh man, Zach Heiser very close there, with Devin McDonald making that pass there around the outside. John Senu as well. It looks like Devin McDonald here, not exactly certain what's going on, but he's getting just passed left and right. Not sure if there's something wrong with his race car or what's going on there, but still keeping on here. Andrew Burr side by side with John Kane. Eric Hahn as well up here in the top 5. Eric Hahn trying, oh man. Eric here, the father of Brett the Jet, looking to make amends, not necessarily amends, but looking to avenge his son here after getting put out of the race here in the 71 car, the 711. And be looking to take home at least the top 5 here, it looks, tonight. And so far looking like he is going to retain that here. So great work from Eric Hahn as he continues along with this string of drivers starting to develop as they come out of turn 3 and across the checkered line. It's 4 laps left to go here. Andrew Payne, no one's knocking on his door anytime soon. He's got about a second and a half separating himself and Noah Boucher. Noah Boucher in about the same ballpark as we go side by side across the checkered line here in the midfield. Battle for third place is brewing, and it is a stewing. Andrew Burr trying to keep himself up here ahead of these drivers across the checkered line. It's 2 laps left to go. Race number 5 of the Race 1 SK Modified Series. White flag is out. Let's see if Andrew Burr is going to keep it together, hold on to it for just 2 more turns. I don't think he's going to have any trouble doing so here. Through turn 3, across the checkered line, and there it is. 3rd place for Andrew Burr, and John Kane, Zach Kaiser, those 2 drivers not necessarily neck and neck, but definitely gunning for that 3rd place spot there going into the end. But great racing from all of the drivers here tonight. After, just a series of unfortunate events. But let's take a look at our post-race results. As Andrew Payne is going to burn down the field here. Andrew Payne coming home with a win here. Noah Boucher in 2nd, Andrew Burr in 3rd. John Kane in 4th, Zach Kaiser in 5th, John Senu in 6th place, Eric Hahn in 7th, Devin McDonald in 8th place here, Mark Welch in 9th, and David Luigi in 10th place. That's going to round out our top 10 here as we get ready for our post-race interviews. Alright, so up first we are going to have Andrew Burr, the 223 machine, up here in the booth here tonight for, I believe, the first time this season. Andrew, sir, welcome to the booth. Congratulations on your 3rd place finish here tonight after, wow, just a series of interesting events that we had here, and I think definitely helped play in your favor here just a little bit to push your way up here into the top 3. But the main question that I have is, we had that late race caution just come out of nowhere. Hayden Swank, I believe, blew his engine coming out of 3 and wasn't able to get himself down into pit lane in time before that yellow flag was flown. Tell me a little bit about what it was like trying to defend that position on that final restart, knowing that you had a field of drivers on fresh tires, all eager to take that spot.
Yeah, we got real lucky with that yellow there. Got held up in the lap traffic and just lost so much time. And when the leader came through and we got lapped, it was pretty nice because we had the pace of the leader. So once we got the fresh tires and we came back out, I knew we had a good enough car to hang on. We had that really long run in the middle there, and I was a lot quicker than a lot of the guys were that I was kind of battling. So I knew the short run was going to be tough, so it was all about planning that short run, knowing how to execute there. That short run's always been my weak spot, and that was kind of a stressful time to execute at that moment.
Yeah, I can only imagine. And frankly, with the way that the race was going at that point in time, before that late stage caution, I keep saying stage as if we're in a NASCAR race. The late race caution that we had, it was really unexpected. I saw it happen on the broadcast, and I was thinking to myself, it's hopefully not going to affect the drivers still racing. But, having, only 20 laps left to go and getting that restart in, knowing that you've got a bunch of other drivers that are all looking for that position, but like you said, you felt like you had a better car, so it seemed to work out for you. Now, coming to Concord tonight, what was kind of your initial, vision for tonight? Did you see yourself up here on the podium, or was it a different idea coming into tonight's race?
My idea was, oh no, coming into tonight. This is a track I struggle at, and as we saw tonight, it can get crazy. So knowing my luck in the last couple races hasn't been super great, I was kind of anticipating that. Got collected in a couple things that probably shouldn't have happened, but it's all about rebounding, and I think these long races really suit what where my strengths are. I can kind of rebound. We got spun on lap 12. It destroyed the tires, damaged the car, but we were able to come back through the field and dodge all the mayhem and plan the race around that. And it, I didn't come in with much expectations, but right before that last caution came out, and once we finally had cleared all the lap traffic, first car lap down, and I was hanging with pain, and that was a huge confidence boost because I knew those tires were shot, the car was very damaged, and the fact I was hanging on to the guy that was setting fastest lap after fastest lap all race was just a huge confidence boost, which probably helped the restart be executed as well as it did.
Absolutely. Well, it was a great race here tonight for the 223 machine, and hopefully you get to carry that momentum forward going into next week's race at Lanier National Speedway. But before I let you go here tonight, Andrew, and celebrate tonight's finish, anyone you want to shout out and thank watching the broadcast, anyone at home or in the pit crew that helped you succeed in tonight's race?
Well, I just want to thank you guys at Team Goon Squad putting on a good broadcast. Everybody at Horsepower Happenings, Race1. Obviously got to thank the PTR group. Giving me a good car. It was really quick and just really fun to drive. So can't thank them enough for putting this effort together.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for joining me up here in the booth for, I believe, the first time this season, Andrew. And I hope to get to talk to you again more this season. Good luck to you next week, and I look forward to talking to you more.
Yep, see you, Mason.
Absolutely. Have a good one. Alrighty, folks, that was Andrew Burr, the 223 car, out of the booth here, taking home third place tonight. Up next, Noah Boucher, taking home second place in the number 16 machine. Noah, not a unfamiliar name here in the booth, but it's been a while since we've had a chat here with Noah. Welcome back to the podium, taking home second place here tonight at Concord. And Noah, this was quite the race that we had here tonight. I mean, quite a big wreck that we had. I believe it was the fourth or fifth caution of the race, and it collected the majority of the drivers on the lead. After that point in time, we saw yourself up there as well as Andrew Burr in that second and third place spot. I mean, once that happened and you noticed or realized that you were in the top three, what was your game plan from that point on?
Just kind of ride around and wait. I knew tires were going to be a big factor, and with not a lot of cars left, I doubted there was going to be a lot of cautions like it showed. So just kind of played the patience game, which in the end didn't work out that well. I was letting cars by and was running around in fifth, but didn't save enough tire there at the end, and still cars pretty tight during that long green flag run when I finally decided to go. So got lucky with that late race caution there.
Yeah, that late race caution, I mean, it came out of nowhere. Honestly, it almost could have been avoided by 2 seconds. If Hayden could have got his car off track even just 2 seconds faster, I think that caution would have been avoided. Now, had it not been avoided, what do you think? Where do you think you would have ended up if there wasn't that caution to help kind of restack the field and get things going again?
Pretty sure I would have ended up about P5 here at the end of it, Mason, because that's where we were riding around. I was looking at my relative, and I was last one on the lead lap right there before the caution. So probably would have ended up about a lap down, and hopefully would have ended up P5. So would have been a good night based on the 2 races I've already ran this season, which didn't show out too good. Had a good run going at the bull ring, and got messed up there at the end by a car getting out of the race mid-corner, and then unforeseen circumstance at US International pretty early on in their feature.
Yeah. Unfortunately, sometimes that's the way racing goes. But you know what? Coming home with the podium tonight, looking forward, looking on to brighter and bigger things going into next week at Lanier. What are your thoughts and feelings, and what's kind of your game plan for next week's race?
Well, sadly, I won't be at the next race because of IRL racing. I help in actual SK Modified over at the Thompson Motorsports Park, and we race next week, sadly, so I will sadly miss out on ASRC Race 1 SK Modified Series. But I hope to be back in 2 weeks. I forget what track that's going to be, but I hope to be back in 2 weeks and get one spot better.
Absolutely. Looks like that's going to be Martinsville. So that'll be a good race to catch you at. But hey, don't feel too bad about missing next week. You know, real life racing always tops virtual. So I don't blame you too much for that, Noah. But sorry, before I let you go here, Noah, and celebrate and get yourself ready for your real life racing, is there anyone you want to shout out, thank before you go here tonight?
I want to thank you, Mason, and everybody at Team Goon Squad. I want to thank everybody at ASRC putting on a great event tonight. I know it was a little bit of a tough show with all the cautions, but I still think it was a good race, even though how much riding around I did. But I got to thank everybody who helps put the series on, put on the events, and lets us do things like this every week.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Noah, for joining me up here in the booth tonight, and I hope to get to talk to you again in a couple weeks at Martinsville.
Me too, Mason. Good talking to you.
Absolutely. Have a great night. Alrighty, folks, that was Noah Boucher, the 16 driver, coming home with second place here tonight. Last and certainly not going to be least, Andrew Payne coming home with the win here tonight. Andrew, welcome to the booth for, what is it, the second time, first time? I don't remember this at this point, but Andrew, it seems like you have had quite a phenomenal season with the Modifieds. We've seen yourself up on pole multiple times throughout this season, and we've seen you up here in the top 3, top 5 already in the 5 races that we've seen here thus far. Andrew, I mean, what's kind of been going through the minds of the 93 driver, and what's kind of led to your success here in this season?
Well, I'll be totally honest. This is the first time at least this season, actually, I think in my sim racing career, this is the first time I've really dabbled in these cars. I'm not normally a big open wheel guy on the oval side of things, so you know, this was sort of a new thing to me for this season. I didn't quite expect to be as fast as I was out the gate this season, but obviously I think I have 3 poles for 5 races, so obviously I can hot lap it. I think one thing that this sort of helps me with, or these cars are sort of, you know, it's a lot of momentum-based racing every week so far. It doesn't matter the track. You know, the less brake and the less steering input, the better, the faster you're going to go. And I guess I figured out that I can just qualify every lap pretty much. Even if it isn't qualifying pace, but just I've just found good momentum in these cars. I'm actually really enjoying them. I still have a couple issues of getting into the wall by myself, driving in a straight line, but you know, that happens sometimes. But yeah, these cars are a lot of fun. Tonight was a lot of fun too. This track is tough. I think under green flag conditions, I pretty much had my wheel turned to the left for pretty much the entirety of a lap, so I didn't really get a break at all, but yeah, it was just smooth in, smooth out. I found a line into the third turn that I at least really liked. It seemed to work, and I was just putting down laps and just trying to be consistent all night.
And you know, with all of that here tonight, with all the cautions that we had here tonight, Hayden Swank, obviously, he qualified ahead of you only by 1/100th of a second. Now, the beginning of the race, we were seeing some pretty tight competition between you two, and the moment that Hayden Swank was out of the picture, what was that like for you? I mean, mentality-wise, you know, you're having a driver that is pretty much neck and neck with you, all of a sudden is no longer there. I mean, what does that do for you as a driver?
Well, I mean, first off, I got really lucky. I guess getting doored. I know it was just overdriving, and you know, mistakes were made, and I'm not upset with the contact that was made tonight. But I got really lucky when Hayden got into me that it didn't spin me around or anything, so I just got ahead of that big wreck. and we were all super close from that restart. And you know, unfortunately, a lot of good guys got taken out. Hayden being one of those. You know, I sort of knew that I could, you know, set a decent pace against the rest of the field tonight. But it was just one of those. You know, it was just one of those things. Just don't get. I'll keep pace, and I know I'll be fast. I know I can save tires semi decently. Tonight, I think, was the first time that tire wear actually came into play later in the run because of how much we're actually having to slow down into these corners compared to like where we were in last week and stuff like that. But yeah, just setting a decent pace, running smooth, not hitting the apron, and I sort of just ran it almost like a practice. I just tried to be consistent and not overdrive.
Absolutely. Well, Andrew, you did a phenomenal job. I mean, I think towards the end of the race there, you were pulling. Well, before the caution came out, you had almost 4.5 seconds between Noah Boucher, and right at the checkered flag, you had a little over a quarter and 1 3/4 seconds. Excuse me. So you had phenomenal pace here tonight. Hopefully, we get to see that pace carry forward into next week's race at Lanier. But before I let you go here and celebrate your win here tonight, Andrew, is there anyone watching the broadcast, anyone at home, in the pit crew, anything like that you want to shout out and thank before you go?
First and foremost, you know, thank you, Mason and Team Goon Squad, for calling these races. As always, you guys have been putting on quality broadcasts, and I know we've been putting on some good shows for you guys to call. You know, I think this is season 4 or 5 at this point that you guys have been with us, and all of us admins really appreciate it. And you continue to put on, you know, better and better shows each week. You know, thank you guys for being on the car too. You know, I'm happy to have you guys aboard for the season once again. You know, as well as huge thanks to QuickTime Motorsports Media, Hall Metal Fab, Citrus Hat Sawn Mower, V&H Fresh, the Downforce guys, Ryko, you know, my parents and grandparents, for supporting me, you know, real life racing and sim racing, you know, all the competitors and admins, and for, you know, helping us create this, you know, big league, and putting on some quality races, and yep.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Andrew, for joining me up here in the booth, and I look forward to seeing you next week at Lanier.
Yep, thank you, Mason.
Absolutely. Have a great night, Andrew.
You.
Oops, I did not mean to cut you off there, Andrew. I'm sorry. Folks, that is going to conclude our coverage here tonight of race number 5 of the Race1 SK Modified Series. My name is Mason Heimball with Team Goon Squad, bringing you the action here tonight. Thank you all for tuning in and watching. If you enjoyed what you saw, hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Catch all the action that we have here on Team Goon Squad 7 days a week. Thank you all once again for tuning in and watching. I will see you all next week, same time, same place.